we gon' run it. Hit the field, blast off, watch a mom fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Hey, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk, presented by Chubbies. Thank you, Chubby, for sponsoring this show. I will tell you this week, as I was effing stretching this. This thing is durable, my friends. Go check their brand out. It is very moisture wicking.
It's a stretchable shirt for a stressful day.
It is, and no wrinkles either. Because I tossed it somewhere in the abyss, and today I was like, let me go get it. It was in a corner, and I'm like, yeah, no wrinkles.
You ever see the clip, Sonny, of this kid? He's a young Bears fan, a little boy, and he's watching the Bears play, and he's like, "Turn this off! I'm getting frustrated."
Oh man, and the crazy thing is, my wife said that the baby was acting up, and she's like, "So are you not gonna watch it?" And I'm like, "I cannot not watch it, but I wish I cannot watch it." Anyway, let me start with the Ravens. You should be losing behind. So the Baltimore Ravens are.
By the way, the joy in Jarrett Bailey's eyes right now, like his soul just like shot up.
I'm gonna give Sonny his time. I'm not gonna say a word until he gets it out.
Your time is coming, my friend. But anyway,
I'm fucking ready.
The Medicare Baltimore Ravens. What can I say? Let's start with the thing that the Baltimore Ravens fans will hate me the most because of what I'm gonna say. In the past 2 weeks, in my humble opinion, Lamar Jackson has not played good. Obviously, he left this game, but up to the point that he played and in the Lions game, and I will argue a little bit over in Cleveland. There's a rumor out there, by the way, that he was hurt. You know how in the preseason and camp, once the preseason was over, somebody stepped on him, and and Harbaugh said, "I was praying that nothing was bad." That's the rumor why he's not running as much. It's only a rumor. That's all I can say. But
I noticed he was slower than normal.
He definitely looks slower. You can see even when he escaped it.
Tripping on that.
Even when he escaped, he definitely is slower. But my problem is not that. Because if you're slower because you're hurt, what can I say? You're hurt, whatever it is, right? My problem is, I understand Fahalele, and he was trash again. This is the water wet, right? This is the same thing every week. But you see a blitz coming. You are 6-7 year quarterback. You see the blitz is coming. You're staring the people that are coming. You know it's coming. And you're here just vibing like, well, they're going to get to me. I'm just going to stay here. They're going to get to me. I actually think the O-line did not produce. They weren't bad. They're doing the late blitzes. You know, they're doing this all game. It's not new. I can understand at the beginning, you're like, oh shit, they caught me off guard. Now you know. Second quarter, you've seen this happen. The O-line is blocking for the most part everybody else. If the guy's coming and your first couple reads are not there, you need to be aware this guy is coming, right? And either move so you can then shield him with another O-line, that another O-line can disengage and pick them up. But you cannot stand there. And all Lamar was doing, just standing there. So, and I said this last week when I said the 7 sacks. I don't know if you guys remember. Most of them were on Lamar. I don't know how many sacks he got. I haven't even watched the box score, to be honest. I didn't care. It's disgusting. It's an abomination. But whatever many they have, I feel like they were 90% on him. Stanley is out. That's the other thing. You know Stanley's out. The guy that came from Stanley wasn't terrible for a guy that plays guard and center for the most part. He played left tackle. He wasn't terrible. I think he held his own for the most part. But my guy. Again, you're the leader, you're the quarterback, 2-time MVP. If you're all this, you need to know defense is coming. They're coming to pressure me. What are we doing? Actually, Lamar has the freedom to call protection. Running back, stay effing here. Stay effing here. Actually, even more. Running back, delay blitz. Go attack the blitzer. So if the blitzer doesn't go with you, I have an easy check down. Now, Harbaugh call out Tom Munkin, which I think is kind of crazy. Harbaugh never calls anybody out. That the play calling was kind of vanilla, that the play calling was bad. I will call you, Harbaugh. Are you? Pardon my French. You hear the bitch of Andy Reid. Every time you play Andy Reid, he owns you. You're Andy Reid, bro. What is wrong with you, bro? Are you? If Andy Reid's gonna dominate this like this to you, how are you gonna win a Super Bowl ever again? Until Big Red retires? This mofo can live for 20 more years, 30 more years. I'm not wishing his death. My point is, what are you doing, Harbaugh? Where is your preparation? Where is your preparation? Now, let's talk about this defense. The defense is in life support. Woo! Roquan went off in the second quarter. Okay. After Roquan left, I actually think he was not having a good game. But they started definitely running on us after Roquan left. Before Roquan left, there was not a lot of yards in the running game. But definitely after that.
I know Roquan is the most effective player when he's not out there.
Well, what I was going to say, if for the Ravens, like a coaching staff, if you know you have a rookie, and apparently Trent Simpson can play because he barely plays, you need to effing get another linebacker.
What are your thoughts on Zach Orr?
Zach Orr needed to stay in Kansas City, my friend. Needs to go and retire from coaching. He retires a player. Go retire as a coach. Put Michel Pagano. Oh, that way, I cannot even find him in the milk carton. Oway is here. Apparently playing. I don't even know. But you saw him? I didn't see him. He's still in Penn State, not having any sacks. Our whole D-line, the D-line itself, it was 3 practice squads, guy. So it's unfair to me to criticize in that. I actually think that they play well enough for 3 practice squad guys. The 3 starters were out. Benoit is out. The amount, and here's for my Ravens fans and for everybody fans in the AFC North, when you put so much stock in a rookie, it's literally the reason that I get flagged every year when rankings come. And I said, well, I cannot take in consideration a rookie that much, because if you can hear Ravens fans talking about Mike Green, he is sent by Jesus to Baltimore. He is a fucking rookie. What are we talking? It's not that the kid is playing bad. You can definitely see that he gets overwhelmed by a veteran tackle. He had some wins over Simmons a couple of times here and there. Again, it's not, but when you guys talk about like he is the next coming up, I don't know, Nick Bosa, Watt, Miles, whoever you guys were saying, Ravens fans, slow down. Even Malachi Stark, he's a rookie.
Did y'all do that with Ojabo? It's like, we got an extra.
Ojabo, the only reason Ojabo is not inactive is because Benoit plays. So, but Ojabo is an afterthought. The secondary played decent. They also got hurt. The secondary, I think, played the best of the defense, but I feel like Pat Mahomes had like 50 seconds per throw. Like the pass rush for the Baltimore Ravens is non-existent. Zach Orr cannot even design a blitz to get to Pat Mahomes. Forget about a sack. He cannot even design a blitz to get pressure. A blitz is coming, and I'm like, did it come? Dude is vibing just there in the backfield. So this is for me to say this Baltimore Ravens team has been severely outcoached. I don't know if I've been in this stand before in this show, but definitely I think I'm in the heart. If Harbaugh does not make the playoff, he needs to go. I don't even care if Lamar doesn't play a game for the rest of the year. If all the defense goes and gets scrapped because the problem is, up to now, he had his team the healthiest it's going to be all year. And I'm not saying the Ravens are not going to make the playoffs. There's still a lot of time in the year. The AFC in general does not look good. The AFC in general, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I would say the same thing for the Bengals. I actually would say the same thing for the Browns. But if you don't make the playoff, Harbaugh, now you have the reputation. You cannot beat McDermott. And I already said what you are from Andy Reid. So what are we doing? Right? Yeah, you can beat the division and you can potentially win your division, but then you will never get past that because you have shown that neither the Bills, because the Bills have beat you, even if they're good games, they're competitive, it goes to the end, but who ends up winning at the end surprises the Bills. And then Andy Reid, they're not even competitive. He owns you. Coaching-wise, he owns you. The reality is this game, trenches-wise, it was problematic, but schematically, this game was lost. Right? I can talk about individual players, and again, I think Lamar has a lot of blame because in the case of Lamar, you are the captain of the ship when that little mic gets cut off. Lamar has all the freedom in the world to do all the checkdowns, all the checks, right? Everything. But schematically, I don't want to hear Tom Monken. Tom Monken works for you. I don't want to hear Zach Orr. Zach Orr works for you. You don't like what they're doing? Fire them. You have the freedom. As far as I know, not for you to catch a straight ace or anything, but Shady does not put any restriction like other teams on you can't fire this coach because of money. No, he has done it before. So if you don't like how the coaching staff is doing, if you don't like how the whole scheme is working, it's on you, brother. And you should be gone. I don't know what else to say. It's frustrating. Obviously, it's frustrating because they're also hurt. So that doesn't help. But the Costa. Let me finalize with the Costa. 3 years ago, I think it was 2020, 2021, somewhere there, we had a problem with corners. We were bringing corners from the UPS truck to cover people, right? Because we had so many injuries. I think that was the last year that Marcus Peters was here, whatever.
Oof.
And the Costa, after that, he is corner obsessed, which is not a bad thing. But he has completely forgot about your D-line. The Maravika is good. And Maravika, look, prayers for him. What I'm hearing is career ending. So you're not going to see Maravika. You're not going to see Maravika again, right? Your other D tackle is an IR. And your Travis Jones should be back next week. But you really have not invested in this D-line. Versus we talk about the Browns, how the Browns had a very bad D-line 3 or 4 years ago, how they're really good. That's not the Ravens right now. And the corners can only do so much if Pat Mahomes has a fortress around him. And not because this O-line has been playing good all year. Last thing, by the way, I think the Ravens wanted to get blown out. Very early in the game, they started going on 4th down in their own territory for no reason. And they kept going afterward. And you know what? Just to culminate. You go for it on your own territory. For what then, when you are in your side in the 30, 3rd and 3 or 4, and you're losing by 20, you're like, let me kick a field goal. What's the point at that moment? You have been going for it. Just go all the way, score the touchdown. Right? Or not, whatever it is. But what does a field give you? Practice for Loop, I guess. That's about it. By the way, shout out to Loop. He's the best thing in this team right now. Who wants to talk? I'm done.
Well, I'll happily go after that. So if we can go back to on Friday, I do recall one of us said that it was going to be a big booty beatdown.
Be careful with the powers that be. Be careful.
No, this is not his first time winning this because I remember.
No, this was he hedged this one because he said that the Steelers were going to lose.
Yeah,
and then he did. I like that. I like that technique.
Has he figured out? Like, is he Jarrett Bailey of the booty beatdown of the Eagles of the tush push? Like, has he figured out a way to make this work in his favor?
Perhaps until it gets outlawed, I shall continue.
You know, we got to meet.
I usually wear black, so it's not, this is nothing new. But I definitely did it today because there's a couple funerals that we must attend as a group, starting with the Baltimore Ravens. Because look, certainly not wishing injury upon anybody or anything like that, but Lamar looks like he's going to miss at least this next game and potentially the game after that. They play Houston and Los Angeles in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Even against a Texans team that's beatable, like I don't think Cooper Rush is beating anybody.
I agree.
Certainly not the Rams. So they're staring 1-5 in the face. The saving grace is after the bye week, I mean, the schedule really softens up, so they could run off like 5 in a row and get 5-5, 6-5, and still be a playoff team. But which I expect them to be, by the way.
I'm not. If they can't keep hurt teams. What is the saying? Hurt teams will stay hurt or go get more hurt at this point.
Maybe.
Right? It's not the other way. It rarely happens the other way.
Stops.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. It's not like we're gonna start recovering.
One of those things where, like, when it rains, it pours. With the injuries.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, look, if they don't make the playoffs, I mean, you're not going to see me crying any tears. But man, I made a lot of money on this game, so I'm also very happy because I went into this game and bet heavily on the Chiefs, and it was a good day for FanDuel, Jarrett. Pat Mahomes had his first 4-touchdown game since 2023, and the Chiefs did, more than I thought they were going to do. But it went just about how I thought it would go, where, this is how these games usually go between these two teams, with the exception of the game in 2022 in Baltimore, where, had Clyde Edwards-Helaire not fumbled in that game, Kansas City probably kicks a game-winning field goal. But regardless, Baltimore beat them, credit to them. And then the AFC title game was a low-scoring game, but it never felt like, at least to me, like that game was ever in danger of the Chiefs losing. And that's just how these games between these two teams usually go, is that, the Chiefs are going to handle Baltimore, and that's basically it. On the day, just some, other box score stuff. Lamar, 14-20, $147, a touchdown, and an interception thrown into the lap of, I believe that was Leo Chenal.
What a bad throw.
Not a good throw.
Horrendous.
So... And it started off good. The Ravens marched down the field and it was 7-0. I was like, all right, this might be a back and forth contest, but I still expect Kansas City to win. And then after that, bro, it was everything just went downhill. The 2021 Chiefs showed up and just played out of their minds offensively. It's the most points they've scored in God knows how long, because they didn't score 30 points in the regular season last year. The only time they scored 30 points last year is in the AFC title game. So it's been at least since 2023 where they've scored 30 points in a regular season game. I've said plenty of times, hey, I'm not counting out the Chiefs because too many people have done that over the last 2 years and they've, prevailed every time. It's still Patrick Mahomes. It's still Andy Reid. You don't want to be their get-right game, and unfortunately for Baltimore, they were. In terms of what it means for the rest of the division, I said coming into the year, I preached this a lot, where it's no team's ever won this division 3 years in a row since division realignment in 2001. So history was working against Baltimore. And looks like that's going to be the case. And from a Steelers perspective, brother, if they find a way not to win this division, I'm going to be livid. But right now, they're sitting pretty.
Let me tell you this, Jared. If the Steelers don't win the division, it will be worse than what the Ravens fans are feeling, because you have,
I agree,
a hobbling Ravens fan, multiple injuries, right? Bengals injuries are not piling, but their main guy is injured. Mm-hmm. And then you have the Browns, that people think they're a top 5 pick. I don't necessarily think that, and then you have the Steelers that right now, I think is the most healthy in the division. Schedule hasn't been hard either, right? Everything is working in their favor. They didn't take the Bengals, but they have Burrow. They might not take the Ravens on their strongest side. So if they collapse somehow, which I'm not predicting.
I'm not predicting it.
That might be.
I'm also not banking on it not happening.
Tomlin, that, I was talking about Harbaugh should be fired if you don't make the playoff. If Tomlin doesn't win this division, because how everything is set up, I actually think it's also a fireable offense.
I would agree, but it wouldn't happen. So was that the Undertaker's gong?
Keeps having fun with the.
I'm glad. I'm very glad. To put a little bow on this, I don't want to be the only one talking. I I feel like I can pat myself on the back a little bit. I called it a triple B. It came true. Pretty happy about it. And yeah, it was a good Sunday for me. I'll leave it at that.
Ace, you want to comment?
Yeah, man. I said going into this game, said week 1 that Ravens defense looked bad. I said that if they go out and let a struggling Chiefs offense that's been struggling, like Jared said, they haven't had a great performance offensively in quite some time. If they were able to have a great performance on offense, that the defense is cooked. Defense is cooked. Obviously, they've got injuries now on that front. Prayers up to Matabuke. That sucks to hear that. But this defensive unit, Marlon Humphrey, like they're doing more podcasting than they are stopping players on the field at this point.
Can I add something? Can I add something to that? Marlon Humphrey is a beloved Raven, and if I was him, I understand that he probably wants a second career, and I think he's a good personality. I don't think you should podcast right now because you're getting now hatred.
Brother, the world has enough podcasters. Be a lawyer. Do something
but
else.
My point is Marlon Humphrey has the personality that he can be in CBS. He has a great personality for TV.
Okay, I hear
right?
you.
But this is not the time. And after whatever was last week against Detroit, and people were hating on you, I would have just said, you know what? I'm shutting this down. Boop. And now you're hurt. Yeah, you're hurt. Like Van Noy's trying to do a podcast too, but Van Noy has no personality.
He's going to podcast even more now.
Yeah.
Van Noy are going to podcast this season away. I mean, look, man.
Yeah.
Zach Orr is a terrorist right now for your organization. They've got to figure out what's going on with him from that perspective. But like you said, I want to give Sonny some credit because he called out Lamar. He kind of called out the coaching staff. That is what I have wanted Ravens fans to do. There's been before that, I'm not saying Sonny has done this, but there's always been we beat ourselves, we've done this and that. And it's finally like, man, we just aren't good enough. Like, especially in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs, they just weren't good enough to really make this one. And they just seemed like they gave up, bro. I'm just going to be honest. They seemed like they gave up in this game as a team. They didn't really have the fight in them. And that's why I'm looking, like Jared is saying, these 2 games without Lamar, 1-5, like that's when guys start to kind of check out. I mean, I've seen it myself with the Bengals these last couple of games. When your star quarterback is not out there, guys are going to start checking out. Guys, the effort isn't going to really be there, especially when they feel like they can't keep up. And this Ravens team, I can't believe that by week 4, they are already looking like they might be cooked. I mean, by week 5, week 6. And to me, I'm not – I know, but a lot of people speculated on the Lamar one. They're talking about the Rowe one. I really, truly wonder how much this team is actually standing by Harbaugh because you start to see a lot of injuries pop up when guys don't really believe in the coach and the effort isn't there. And something like a hamstring isn't something that you can say definitively when you're going to come back. I've pulled hamstrings in my life before as a former track athlete. It's a tough injury. So
it's a tough injury to consistently not aggravate again when you're playing football, right? Like he can get back, but it's going to fuck with him the whole year.
Yep. And he can be like, nope, not this week. Nope, not that week. And I wonder, does Harbaugh still have the locker room? Do you feel like Harbaugh still has the locker room, Sonny?
Sadly, I do.
Okay.
Harbaugh is very players coach, but this is where if you have cojones, I'm not even saying fire him now. This is not what I'm saying. You're going to leave it through the rest of the year. Very rarely I say it. I mean, it has to get toxic for me to say a coach should go mid-year. Mm-hmm. But this is where if you don't make the playoffs, how many more chances are you going to give him? Right? And
is the message still? Is it still that he can motivate these guys in the locker room? Or is it like on somewhere? Because I guess it kind of reminds me of Marvin Lewis. It's like, yeah, people are tired of hearing the same message by this.
The players are here, especially the one that are healthy still, are defending Zach Orr. Like they're like, it's not Zach Orr, it's that's what I'm saying. So I don't think the coaching staff had lost the locker room because they have brought up the players have been saying, we've seen what people are saying on Twitter. It's not the coach, it's this on us, blah blah blah. We need to execute better.
I do wonder though, like, because when you don't have a quarterback, it's a little bit of a different situation. Or your quarterback is like an Andy Dalton, it's a different situation. But like, it's not really John Harbaugh's locker room to lose. You feel me? Like that locker room's gonna go with Lamar, right? Like if the question isn't really like, is John Harbaugh lost the locker room? That locker room's gonna go wherever Lamar's going, right? If Lamar's with it, they're gonna go with it. If Lamar's not with it, then they're not going to go with it. And when you have those kind of superstar quarterbacks, the same thing's going on in Cincinnati, where it's like a lot of like, is the locker room in on Zach Taylor? The locker room's not dependent on, do we think Zach Taylor gives us the best chance to win? They're like, hey, we got Joe Burrow. What's the Joe Burrow thing, right? Like, that's going to really flip it for them. And the question is like, hey, Lamar's going to have to look around, look at what his last few years have been like, and ask himself, hey, what does he think can change right here? And I think you're running out of shit that you feel like you can change other than, hey, man, Harb's got to go.
Yeah, for him to call out Monken,
that was
like,
weird.
bro, you dropped 40 the first game, you dropped 41 the second game, you dropped 30, and in a game you dropped 20, you're talking about Todd Monken, and you're not talking about Zach Orr. Like, it's clear that the defense is cooked. They're 32nd in the league. They're allowing 33 points per game, but you're not going to say anything to Zach Orr. I don't know.
That was with Roquan.
At this point.
What are they going to look like without him?
What the Ravens are at this point is, I don't know. And I think that they have a lot of injuries coming from this game. And with a lot of those players out.
They brought in Eric Kendricks for a visit today.
With them having Cooper Rush at quarterback, like, yeah, a lot of similarities between, I think, 2024 Bengals with this team thus far, with the defense not being able to stop anybody, offenses being able to score points. But now the offense isn't going to be able to score anything without Lamar there at the quarterback position. So I just wonder where this Ravens team goes going forward. I don't know. I don't know if I'm with Jared on they're going to come back and be this team, because if you're looking at 1-6, I just don't.
Let me get their schedule pulled up real quick.
That's a tough stretch of games. Like, I think people just said 1-3, you have like an 18% chance to make the playoffs, and maybe less than that. So 1-6, like I don't know if.
so the schedule of Houston and the Rams the next two games. If Lamar's not playing either of those, I think those are both losses. They have the bye week after that, and then they return and play the Bears at home. If he's good for that game, I think they can beat Chicago.
Yeah.
They then go to Miami. I think they can beat Miami.
Hold on.
Sorry,
Lamar has a horrible history in that Miami game.
That's true.
No, he has either a great game or a bad game. It's no in between. It's either he comes here and throws 5 touchdowns.
He gonna get stomach poison that week. Like that's
right.
Go get that food poison.
So okay, we can classify that one as maybe a toss up depending on what it looks like. Then they go to Minnesota. That's not going to be an easy game. At Cleveland, that game in Cleveland between these two teams is always weird. They host the Jets after that. The Jets look bad.
They got that.
And then they play
Lamar.
And then they play Cincinnati, who will still be playing Jake Browning.
Hopefully not. I hope not.
Oh, or whoever the quarterback will be. And then they host Pittsburgh.
Who
and then
they have to play other than Jake Browning? If it's not,
I'm hoping that they try to trade for somebody. They got
Kirk Cousins.
And then after Pittsburgh, they play Cincinnati again in Cincinnati, then New England, then at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh. Those aren't going to be easy games. So if they're 1-5, like I can see another like 3 or 4 losses on the schedule, even when Lamar comes back. So it'll be a toss up. It'll certainly be a toss up.
9-8 will get you in the playoffs. The problem here is if you, I think this year how the AFC is shaping, but the problem here is
I think the North is getting one team in, and that's the division winner. And I think that could be
I mean, depending on how the rest of because the AFC itself, like the Bengals lost last night, and they're still the 6th seed, which is crazy. But the rest of the AFC is like the Raiders are like right there on the outside.
And that's my point. I think we still might get to, but you cannot keep losing to AFC teams.
Depending
right?
on what the
Like,
AFC South looks like, because if the Colts and Jaguars keep winning, they might get 2 teams.
oh my
think
god, I
it's-
can't
think
believe
the-
the Jaguars.
The West will get 2 with the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Is the South gonna get 3 fucking teams in?
No, I would be. I guess if Houston comes back, maybe.
Yeah.
But even then,
I don't know.
That's kind of crazy. Okay, the last thing.
Hold on 1 second. I do want to offer a silver lining to Baltimore Ravens fans because I know it's tough right here. You know, Sonny's not painting a very flattering picture of what the rest of the season's going to be like. But if you thought about going on vacation, we got a Jet 2 holiday coming up that you can join. This is
By the
Ravens
way-
fans watching the game.
When I was in the UK, I used to hear this song all the time, and now here is trendy. Like 2 years after I come here,
you lived
like,
in the UK.
yeah, for 3
Oh yeah,
years.
you weren't here for that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
That's exciting.
So we have super chats. Let's go through the super chats first.
Yeah.
By the way, you know, Roquan Smith was vital in making sure the Ravens went from 32 to 33, and I didn't appreciate that enough. So my bad, bro.
Nightmare Kilo says Harb's throwing monkeying under the bus, but is praising Zach Orr. Did y'all see the press conference?
I didn't see the press conference. This is the first time hearing this.
Yeah, I saw it and got infuriated and turned it off.
I do wonder how much of that is like, because I know Todd has a bit of a reputation sometimes that he could be a little rough to work with, but
I don't care. Top monkeying is the
I
least of
mean,
your
Todd's
problem.
not the fucking problem. Though.
And again, I understand Harbaugh not putting this pressure on Lamar or not calling your quarterback. I wouldn't want him to call your quarterback either. But that being said, the media in Baltimore, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you scared calling Harbaugh and Lamar out? Just like, what is the point here? Like,
Don't be afraid. The media in Pittsburgh has the same problem with Tom.
My point is, what are you here there for? Because not to call names, but the people, there's two people that work for the Ravens. I don't need to mention their names, but I understand them. You know, every time anything the Ravens do, you know, it's a rough loss. You know, we did this. You know, they work for the team. The rest of y'all, what are you doing? Like, I'm not even calling them my YouTubers, Ravens YouTube people. I'm calling more like the actual Baltimore Sun and the radio station. What are you doing? Especially, I would say this: they call Harbaugh very quickly. It's more Lamar. When Lamar plays bad, you need to call it. Like, I'm pretty sure he will tell you this. He doesn't have to do interviews right now because he hurt. And when you hurt, you have to do interviews. But nah, he's part. In this past 2 games, he's part of the problem. Chica Obidi says Mike Green has more accusations than QB pressures.
Tim Williams vibes.
I got Tim Williams. Well, Grandma Fuhrer wasn't the only sad thing we endured this week. Sorry to hear that, Ben Riley.
RIP.
Glad she didn't see such an embarrassment performance. Taylor oughta be ashamed. Oh, Zach Taylor. Oh, this is the other one. Okay. Because I was like, which embarrassing performance? The Ravens was an embarrassing performance too. Anyway, RIP for your grandma. Ray right here says, man, if the Browns can find a decent QB, I mean, would you guys take them over the Steelers to win in the division?
Maybe.
With this defense, I think I would, but currently I take Pittsburgh, obviously. I have picked the Browns in the past couple of weeks, but Flacco has to have an agenda of losing right now.
Oddly enough, I talked to Kirk Cousins yesterday, and I asked him, "Hey, how much time you think you got left?" And he's still got some left in the tank, guys. So maybe a call's made.
Nightmare Kilos here says, nah.
Cincinnati, is he coming to the north?
Oh, I don't know. I know they'd have to eat all that money for $22 million.
Yeah, or Cousin will have to want to restructure.
Or they got to eat some of it, right? Like that's been the whole thing with the Falcons not wanting to trade him, is they don't want to eat name money.
Yeah. And I made this argument. Remember a couple weeks ago that I said, if you're Cousins of all the teams, will you say, let me go to Cincy if I want to play afterwards? Thinking, I have receivers, I can have good numbers, and then next year I can pick a team because I should look good. Or if I look cooked, then it's
I
time to
think
retire.
either way it works out for him because he has a pre-existing relationship with Stefanski. They were together briefly in Minnesota.
Oh, well, I'm
There's
saying
something there.
Bengals. I'm not saying Browns. I think the Browns are not wanting to train for anybody.
I think they
You
should.
think- Nah, they're gonna probably just stick with this whole Dylan Gabriel
Yeah.
thing to the end of the year.
You
I don't
see?
think they should. I think that if there was any time to like
The
scrap the whole
division is
plan,
up to the take,
that's what
right?
I'm, that's what I'm saying. Like the Bengals and Ravens are both kind of down for the count right now. If you with that defense, you can still capitalize on it, win a few more games, and get yourself back in the picture for the division title. I would, if I was Andrew Berry, I'd be making some calls.
And the
we
Bengals.
can't we can't afford to put more money in that quarterback.
Listen,
but that's my point.
There's always ways
we're
to maneuver.
already
To the cap.
45 deep in that quarterback room of quarterback. He ain't gonna do shit for us.
But this
year.
is why, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the Bengals is what I'm saying. You should, in my opinion, Cousins
the
can.
Bengals have a real reason because like they can hold on until Joe Burrow gets back potentially.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if you're Kirk, you can. If you're the Bengals, you can tell Kirk saying like, "Hey, I need you to basically not make money, play for us. But if you look good, maybe put incentives there, right?
Yeah,
If you look good,
you gotta, and that would be, I think the Falcons would be asking you for a higher pick because it's like if we gotta eat 20 million, whereas Russ, that's the only reason I think the Russell Wilson thing is possible. I'm not a huge fan of it, but he's only getting paid 1.5 million.
Well, yeah, but
So
but
somebody
even
like him,
and
you have
to
to come up
his
a third.
point, this is a bunch of shit that just smells like not Bengals here, right? Like
Yeah,
the
that's
money that you're gonna have to eat there, it's like guaranteed money to somebody who's certainly over 30, right? Like if Katie Blackburn's haggling over rookie deals, right? She's probably not gonna be pretty easy to jump
we're
over
not
on
paying
this
20
one.
million for Kirk Cousins. Dog.
And then the idea that the Bengals is going to give up a pick, that's their main way of getting new players, right? Is the draft. So they're probably gonna not be.
The one thing I was gonna say this, Ace, I said this years ago, which
Jameis?
ended up having a battle between you and Q. But this, I said it about the Bengals, but this goes exactly the same for the Ravens. This is why when you're healthy, and if you're supposed to be a Super Bowl team, you have to win.
Mm.
Because the Ravens have had years that they've been healthy, and obviously we know that what happens in the playoffs, and we have had not as many years as the Bengals, but we had definitely had years like this that looks like everybody's gonna be hurt for the whole year, right? And you might limp to the playoffs. That remember the Tyler Huntley year that we limped to the playoffs. So we could potentially, I don't know, I'm not predicting that, but
Limped out the playoffs too. That year.
we limped out of the playoffs as well. But my point is, this is why when you're healthy, you have to win, because you never know when you're gonna not be healthy in the National Football League, right? You cannot
your windows
take
are just acute.
any year to grant. Yes, you cannot take
I mean,
for granted.
I'm not taking it for granted. I mean, when you have Joe Burrow, you feel like you're gonna have a chance. It's not guaranteed, but I mean, we went against Aaron Donald, future Hall of Famer, and I mean, it came down to the last thing there. But I mean, you can't control injuries, man. I mean, you can't control when somebody's gonna get hurt. You can't control who you play. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. What was it? They dropped the interception in the game before that. Like, yeah, of course, I would have rather played Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers versus the Rams, but I mean, at the end of the day,
yes.
you can't control who you play.
I'm not.
or
By
you
the
can't
way, I'm
control
not
injuries.
trying to say this as a trying to diminish the Bengals. I'm not saying like these two teams.
You're
have
saying
talked
like
about
the windows, yeah.
Yeah, they had talked about their Super Bowl aspiration. This is why, if you're healthy, there's no excuses. This is for Bengals and Ravens, right? Alike.
But
if you're healthy, go ahead.
Even when teams have that elite quarterback, right? Like that gives them a chance every year. Not every year you're going to have a roster that's going to be able to be up for the challenge that is to get to the Super Bowl that year. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is somebody who's a perfect example of that, right? Like got to the Super Bowl one year and just has literally never been back, despite, for most of that period being a really, really good quarterback. The windows are fickle in the NFL, and it's easy to get there and be like, oh, we're young, we're going to get there next year. but then shit happens. You know, somebody gets injured here in the wrong spot. You drop a game here or there. It causes you to be on the road and get a bad matchup, and all of a sudden you're out early again, or you know, you get an injury to your quarterback. These windows are super fickle in the league, and it's like Sonny says, when you have an opportunity to win it all, when you're at that place where you can go for it because you have a clear window to win it all, you got to go for it.
I think they went for it, but I mean, you can't control injuries. I mean, that was his second year. The other thing I'll say in this league is you're also not winning a Super Bowl if you don't have a quarterback. Like if you don't have one of the 5 guys in this league and you're one of the teams that don't have that guy, this is not the 2000s anymore where you can have a defense and just a meh guy at quarterback and win. If you have one of the elite guys at the position, which in my opinion, there's really only 5 of them. If you don't have,
I think the number's grown a little bit. Actually, I think it's like closer to like 7 or 8.
Would you put Jalen Hurts in there because he just won last year?
No, put in there. But the roster was elite.
I would say Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. I wouldn't say that he's top 5, but his roster, coaching staff, like when you have an elite roster and an elite coaching staff and an elite front office, and you have a top 10 quarterback, you're gonna have a chance there.
There's an exception to every rule.
Well, nobody's saying that the Bengals didn't go all in the year that they went to the Super Bowl. And I don't think the argument is really about the Bengals. It's more about when you have that opportunity.
Yes,
you know, if you have the chance, like, and we've been talking about this with the Ravens. I think every time this has come up, it's been with the Ravens, right? Where they're not making that big swing to get that extra wide receiver or to get that extra defensive piece that they need, right? To put them over the top so they can beat. So they can beat a team like Kansas City or put the pressure on, you know, Pat Mahomes, because it is so easy to fall into trap. Oh, we'll be back. We went to the conference championship game. We got Lamar Jackson.
That's exactly my point.
You know, you never know when that window's either going to close or when that window's going to start being a ceiling, right? It was like, we can't get past this. Or if you don't get past it enough, it just starts to become a fucking thing. And now you're the team that can't win in the playoffs. It's real fickle in the league, man. And when you got a real opportunity to take advantage of it, you can't act like there's just going to be another one again, because the league is full of players who
look what the Rams did.
I get that, but if they would,
look at the Bengals. They got to that Super Bowl. They got back to the conference championship the year after. I'm sitting there after that game, you know, even though Joseph Asai gets the penalty, thinking, the Bengals are going to be in this conversation. They're going to be in the conference championship game for like the next 4 years, right? Like it's just going to be Pat Mahomes in the Cincinnati Bengals. That's all we're going to be talking about for the next 4 years. And these last years, they haven't made the playoffs, right?
Well, this is more.
I just think though it's not about going all in when Joe Burrow has had season-ending injuries. So like you can go all in, you can get whoever that you want to. If Joe Burrow
we're saying before the season-ending injury, and again, I don't think the Bengals are really specifically. And we're not specifically talking about the Bengals here, but it's like we're more or less saying, hey, if let's say the Ravens were healthy this year, right? Joe Burrow's down, the Steelers are the Steelers, the Browns are the Browns right now. If the Ravens weren't with a healthy Lamar and a healthy Ravens team serious about like trying to go over the top this year and making this the year they're going to get out the AFC, and instead they're just being like, we're just going to roll out the same guys and be kind of passive here, and maybe we get a backup tackle in a trade or something like that. We'd be like, hey, you're not really taking advantage of that window the way you should. You should go out and try to get a Devontae Adams or something like that to push you over the top, because you never know when this opportunity is going to present itself again. Because, you know, you could think, hey, next year we're going to be just as fine, but maybe the Browns get a quarterback next year, right? And that fucks things up. Or the Steelers hit on a quarterback and that fucks things up. You know, or the Bengals, you know, they lose this year, but they get, you know, they get a difference maker on defense, which completely takes them to a new level. Or something like that.
I'm talking more when your roster's healthy, right? But like right now, it makes no sense.
But
for Baltimore
the thing with Burrow has been most of the times he's not been healthy. So like I get what you're saying.
I got you. I'm saying in general.
Like 2022 he was there, and then 2023 gets hurt. 2024.
Example for me for the Ravens the last 2 years.
We're not saying that the Bengals haven't done this.
Yeah, I'm saying, for example, for me, the Ravens the past 2 years is a perfect example.
We're talking about the Ravens right now, Ace. You know what I mean?
So anyway, let's keep going with the super chats. I didn't want to deviate the conversation. I can't believe or whatever. The Bengals are this bad within one player. Either get a new quarterback, damn, there's CJ. I don't know what
Get a
CJ
new
he's talking about.
quarterback.
Or 10 can get a top 5 pick. I don't know what CJ he's
Yeah, I
talking
think
about.
I think the whole get a new quarterback thing. If you
Is that
haven't
a
watched these
thing right
last
now?
2 games, if you haven't watched these last 2 games
Get a
and
new
don't think
quarterback.
that Joe Burrow is literally the franchise because the coaching staff isn't good, the offense doesn't look the same without him.
Put it on the screen, Ace. Put it on the screen.
The defense is this and that. You've got Taylor Bond right here. Like, I mean, this is a case that you need to keep Joe Burrow, not move. You don't have anything outside of him at this point. So it's very
What is-
embarrassing.
There's a
Is-
I heard this in Bengals chat, like or saying like maybe we need to move out of Joe Burrow. I'm like, do you?
No, I don't know where you're hearing that at.
I seen it
there's
on
not
Twitter.
many Bengals fans
I
talking
They
see
about
on-
think
moving on
quarterbacks
from
just
Joe
grow
Burrow.
on trees.
There's a lot of
let's
people
just not
talking about
replace
moving
Joe
on
Burrow. Okay.
from Zach Taylor. They're
I
not
heard
talking
that
about
too.
getting rid of Burrow.
I heard, so the argument that I heard from these people, which again I don't agree, by the way, is more like if he's this injury prone, maybe we need to move out of him. It's so, which I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I agree. They should do that.
Yeah.
Perfectly good
Yeah,
head coach
that
to
would
give
be
you
it.
for a quarterback if that's the case.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
So
I'm
rookie.
pretty sure anybody
How about
would
a
take
two-time
Joe
coach of
Burrow.
the year? Like,
So rookie here says, I think Zach Taylor gets fired after the Lions game when they dropped 73 points on us.
These games have not been close. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, Zach Taylor is definitely on the hot seat for sure.
Grit Flow here says, ready for Steelers to be 10-3 when then 10-7 plus a wild card loss.
I really hope not.
Larso here says, I know Justin hates Tomlin.
Who's Justin?
Yeah, I was gonna say who's Justin.
Does he think that's my
Jared.
name?
Jared.
Goddamn, we've been doing
great.
this show for a year. You'd think
This
that
week.
they'd learn. Fucking hell.
And then we have 2 members, Cedric
I'm gonna call him
Ibuka.
Justin Bailey for now.
Thanks, Cedric.
And then we have Malik B
Thanks,
for
Malik.
becoming a
Appreciate you.
member. Thank you. Shout out to
Appreciate
you. I
that.
appreciate that. Okay, before we
can I
keep
get-
going, we need to
we
pay
doing
some
each other?
bills. We need to pay
Right.
some bills.
Okay. Here we go. Thank you again to Chubbies for sponsoring this episode. If you are, where'd they go? Okay, here we go. If you're not, Chubbies is ready to help you with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, or riding the highs and lows of the game from your couch, Chubbies has the officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. Bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams. Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos in wildly comfortable polos, wave-making swim trunks, and gym-ready mesh shorts. All the comfort and swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, chest bump, or dramatic fourth quarter meltdown. If you're not a jersey guy, this is an elite alternative. If you are a jersey fanatic, something tells me you'll love their NFL collection, because when you're invested in the game, your outfit should be too. For a limited time, use our exclusive code AFCNT for $10 off at chubbiesshorts.com/AFCNT.
Chubbies, thank you. I'm telling you, you think look, it stretches, it doesn't break. I tested it this past weekend. I tried to break it. I tried, damn it. And it doesn't break, doesn't wrinkle. Great product. Go check it out. They have the swim trunks, they have everything. Go $10 AFCNT, link in the description. Shout out to Chubbies. Thank you. Okay.
More resilient than apparently J.K. Dobbins' knees. Can I ask a question first?
He got
No. More
Oh.
resilient. He didn't get hurt again. He's just still good after like 1 million knee surgeries.
yes. Gotcha. Okay, go ahead.
The question that's been on my mind, and I want to get you guys' input on it each, is about the state of the division. We kind of touched on it earlier. When you look at this division for the rest of this year, and then you look at the trajectory of the teams in this division, right? You got some teams that are, kind of in the late stages or starting to enter the late stages of having their quarterback, right? Like, Lamar is getting to that late 20s part of his career. Joe Burrow's had a couple of injuries, obviously where the Steelers are, where the Browns are. Do you think that this division is going to be able to live up to its reputation, not only for the rest of this year, but, going forward? Like, is the AFC North still the AFC North?
I mean, I think it'll be roughly the same just because Burrow hopefully will be back next year and healthier, and hopefully Cincinnati does some house cleaning, get some new faces in charge of things. gets a little bit better on defense. I don't know, these are a lot of ifs, but if Burrow's healthy, Cincinnati's going to at least be in the picture. Baltimore, if Lamar is healthy, they're always going to be at least in the picture. They're always going to be a team that's talked about as being, one of those teams to watch as a Super Bowl contender. The Steelers, as long as Tomlin's there, it seems like they're always going to win 9 games. So I don't think
like Tomlin. I knew it. You like Tomlin.
I wouldn't go that far.
Big Tomlin guy here.
I love Tomlin, the human being. He seems like a great guy. I'm just over Mike Tomlin, the coach. So I think mostly, if we're just talking about the immediate future, even the long-term future, I think it'll be largely the same as what it is now.
I'm really cute. The other thing is, I echo everything that you're saying. I might be the highest on the Browns, not a Browns fan. Like, I've been here picking them against good teams. I actually think the Browns are a QB away, but also something that I don't like that the Browns have is the O-line. They need to figure out the O-line. Because if you fix a QB, like if you get one of these young guys next year, let's say he's good, but then you get a bad O-line, then you can get an Andrew Luck or CJ Stroud effect, right? Like, you also need to fix the O-line either by buying, drafting, whatever it is. But the Browns are not far. This defense is like Super Bowl contending defense.
Mm-hmm.
If they can fix it now, we don't have any team that you can say, well, this team is just the bottom of the league bad.
Yeah. So my question is, like, with the Ravens, right? They kind of remind me of like an NBA team that's hit their head against the wall enough to where they're at the point to where they got to do something drastic to shake up the dynamic of the team. And I wonder, like, yeah, because like with the Bengals, they haven't really hit their head on the wall. It's like, oh, they've just had bad luck, right? Like they just feel like if they get it healthy, they'll be fine, and then maybe their defense has time to catch up, right? And then that'll be better for them overall. And also maybe they want to, you can look at Ace's banner. I don't think he's very happy with Mr. Zach Taylor here. But with the Ravens, it feels like that entire core of that team is going to have to be blown up at some point with Lamar at the center of it. And like my question is, like, do you trust them to reload that team in a way that can get over the hump with what you've seen? Like, even if they get rid of John Harbaugh, it's still going to be Eric DeCosta, right? Like that's not changing. So do you think that if that situation happens, say you hit your head against the wall this year again, right? You get a hot streak, win the division, you lose again in the playoffs. Maybe you lose in the first round and that's it.
Maybe you don't make it.
Yeah. Maybe you don't even make it, right? And that's it. So, do you trust this team if they have to make that last ditch, like, hey, we got to make this work around Lamar thing happen? Do you think they're going to be able to competently do that? Or are you afraid that some of these kind of tendencies for the Ravens to be passive are just always going to be there no matter what iteration of the team we're talking about?
I think if they miss the playoffs specifically, their pressure mounts. And if they fire Harbaugh, look, this is not great necessarily. DeCosta and Harbaugh, like, really good friends. Like, they're next door neighbors. Like, their fences are next to each other. So these guys are really good friends. If DeCosta fires Harbaugh, that means there's pressure coming from ownership, in my opinion, which means that he's also on the hot seat, which might be enough to make him think a little bit differently. I think DeCosta is not a bad GM. I think DeCosta, the problem that I have with DeCosta is people talk about DeCosta like he is the guy from the Eagles, right?
Oh, Howie.
He's not close. Nah. I think if I graded
DeCosta about Eric DeCosta,
one of those.
He stares through my soul every year at the combine whenever I ask him a question. I feel like I'm being like hypnotized every time I look. He's got some laser eyes. Yes,
he does. I think he's like a BGM. But the problem that he has tendencies, like the corner thing, but forgets about I think he's obsessed to draft the outside backer and content to patch it with older guys that have been good for us. But why not go? What you did with Roquan, you could have done for a pass rush. Like the Rams did it with Von Miller. You could have done it right? Like what
He
they did
tried
with
to do it
Von.
with Mike Green. Mike Green just hasn't.
Well, no, but
been
the
that
problem. Wait. Hopefully you're not. Okay, let me
But
rephrase
to
this.
kind of
Because
Sonny's point, because like it is Mike Green, but they got Mike Green because he fell in the second round, right? Like, you
And
know,
I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
They drafted Oway in the first. It just
Which
those
I
guys
hated.
just haven't hit.
But
Yeah.
that's what I want to correct. I don't want to seem that I'm dissing Mike Green because he's a second round pick rookie, and you cannot depend on a second round rookie to be here at all time pass rusher, which is what you need. What the Bengals have. By the way, Ace, I'm hoping we can snatch Trey next year. That's
Good
what I'm
luck with
hoping.
that.
Right, that's what I'm hoping. I mean, if the Bengals don't want to pay him, that's what I'm hoping. But my point is,
Hold on. Is this now? What's the date? September 30th,
Yeah, last
2025.
day of September.
2025. When we first started this show, Sonny,
Mhm.
somebody told y'all that y'all needed edge rushers. We
Yeah,
all
the
tried to
committee.
tell y'all that y'all
The
needed
committee.
edge rushers.
Back then, the
Whoa.
committee was good. The committee was skinny.
Was the committee like Zadarius Smith? And like, I mean, yeah, I think you would kill
Yeah.
for that committee. Again.
Bowser.
Yeah.
Tyus.
But my point is, that committee was good. This committee is not. That's my
Yeah.
point. Odafe Oweh has not.
And the
not
reason
been
it's not good is these draft picks, right? That they've put in, right? It's because the committee was replaced by Odafe Oweh. The committee was replaced by
Who's the kid from Michigan? He's a
David
bust.
Ojabo.
Ojabo, right? And then there's Mike Green there, who's again a rookie. And like, at some point, you got to ask the question of like, hey, are you just not like, what's going on with the process here? Because this is multiple defensive coordinators,
I know.
right? So it can't just be like, oh, Mike McDonald can identify his guys. It was like, Mike McDonald was here for some of these guys.
I miss him.
Yeah. And then you got Zach Orr here. Obviously, you're missing Mike McDonald. I do want to ask Jared a question about the Steelers' future. Do you feel like that team, if they get a quarterback, right? Now, the range of whether that quarterback is, obviously, if he's like top 5 good, then who cares, right? You're going to be able to fix everything around it and be fine. But let's say you land on a quarterback, he's decent. Do you still feel good about everything else around that quarterback, like long term, or do you think that would be a very like, hey, you got to hit the first 2 years of this window type thing?
I just don't feel good about the hierarchy in place to develop that quarterback. So like, I'm nervous about whoever they take, regardless, just because like Kenny Pickett's not good, but it's also okay to say they didn't do a good job of putting him in better position to succeed. Where Matt Canada's a god awful offensive coordinator, they kept him for far too long. The way that they want to play and win games, like I'm nervous whoever they take, just because I don't trust the current staff as a whole to put the team in the best possible position to win. So that's my whole concern is eventually, if and when a new staff comes in and it's a forward thinking group with new offensive ideas. I shouldn't say new offensive ideas. Because I think Art's actually done a pretty solid job. I think just new philosophies in terms of what the modern NFL game looks like, then I think that things would get a little bit better. I just have my reservations about how Mike Tomlin would want to go about developing a quarterback.
Yeah. Do you think because I know your issue with the Mike Tomlin thing is that philosophy on winning, right?
Yeah.
Do you think I think the bigger problem Pittsburgh has there is even if you did magically fire Mike Tomlin, I feel like they would hire somebody hoping he's Mike Tomlin.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel
Maybe.
like that the mentality that keeps Mike Tomlin there, which is like the Tomlinism of it all, is something that they actually believe in at the top of this, right? Like, it's core to the Art family. Well, is it the Rooneys, right? The Rooney?
Yeah.
The Rooney family, that they actually cherish that. Because the philosophy of Mike Tomlin, it's not really that much different than Bill Cowher. I think Bill Cowher is willing to take a little bit more risk than Mike. Right?
Even so, though, it was okay to go from Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin because at that time, it was okay.
Working.
It was okay to have that type of mentality because it was a different NFL. Now it's a very quarterback-driven, pass-driven, score points-driven league, and he is a let's limit teams to score fewer points coach, and that just doesn't work in huge games. So I don't want a quarterback to come into a situation where in the biggest games, the game plan is, hey, let's, not worry about scoring so many points. We're just going to try to limit the team from scoring other points. That's just not going to work. And that's kind of been my whole theme of my issues with the Steelers since Ben retired. It's just the way that they approach winning just hasn't been it hasn't been sustainable in the biggest games, and that continues to be my biggest thing. So obviously, whoever they take, I'm going to root for. Like I don't. If they like Cade, if they like Aller, if Dante Moore ends up going there from Oregon, whoever the hell it is,
Kirk?
like that would
No
be
young
interesting.
guys. Not young guys. Just go with Kirk.
I mean, if they draft a guy and go with Kirk, whatever.
Wait. Why are we ignoring the inevitable here?
What's
Tua?
that?
Tua?
It's not happening, Q. Let's stop this.
Tuasberg?
Let's stop this.
Tua?
It's not happening.
Tuasberg. I don't know. I can see it. Can't you see it?
No,
left-handed
I
Tua.
can't.
I can see this. I feel like I can see this. Mike Tomlin be like, yeah, I love me some Tua.
No.
He might want a lefty. He might like that time that he had Vic.
Tomlin's
gonna
always talked about.
He's going to flip the offense vertically, horizontally.
I will say this right now, and you can quote me on this all you want. If Tua is the Steelers quarterback, I'll find a new team.
All right,
Because that's not a serious franchise.
Hey, so I got to get your thoughts. Is the AFC North cooked? What's your take on it?
I think it's definitely cooked this season for sure. I think they're going to be collectively one of the worst divisions in football this year. I think going forward, they may have a chance at rebounding. You got to see what happens in Baltimore, because if Harbaugh is going and they bring in a new head coach, you have to think that they, of course, will keep Lamar Jackson, but guys that we're used to seeing like Marlon Humphrey and stuff like that might be leaving. They might have to redo that defense or something like that over there. We're talking about Justin Matabuke, who's a huge piece on that defense, possibly not being there. So I think there's going to be some changes there, and then you have to see, like, with that hire, how it gels and stuff like that. I think with the Steelers, it's still, is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Do they have?
Did y'all see what he said after the? Do you see what he said after the Ireland game?
What did he say?
He was they were doing like one of those things that they always do for like team social media and whatnot. He was just talking. He was walking out the video, saying, "Oh, Ireland, you're great. We'll definitely have to come back again. Definitely want to come back next year." And so everybody heard him say next year, and they're like, "Oh, I wonder if he's planning on sticking around."
Yeah, because so now you got the
42
or 41,
42, 43.
I don't know why I thought he was 43.
No, he's not quite 43 yet. I want to say he's 40.
He looks.
Let me look. And
so
see
for them, there's going to be that, because they're not going to get rid of Tomlin. So you're going to be back in the playoffs this year.
He's 41. He'll be 42 in December.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to be enough to beat a Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen? That's what it's really going to come down to. I would say Lamar Jackson. I just don't think the Ravens are there this year. Next year, they're going to have to figure that out. It's the same question. They're just kind of pushing it down there for another year. So we'll see what they do. I think with the Browns, they got to find a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think with the Bengals, if they move on from Zach Taylor, who can they bring in here that's going to be able to keep Joe Burrow healthy? Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? That's going to be a big question for them. Can they fix the defense? So I would say that the AFC North is cooked looking at next year, but I can't say that because the whole AFC is cooked this season. So the rest of the teams in the AFC seem to be cooked as well. It would be different if we saw teams in other divisions making strides and going somewhere, but you got the Dolphins down bad. You got the Jets are bad. So even when you look at the AFC West, it's still just
Bills got to go all in this year.
Unless the Broncos come up some type of way, which I think the Broncos possibly you could see 3 teams from that division. But I think the North is cooked for sure this season. Next season, we'll have to see how those other teams kind of evolve.
And my last question for you on this one. Do you think that the Bengals are at the point, like obviously you're not going to replace Joe Burrow, right? But do you start taking swings in the 3rd round on like guys you think could be really high level backups for him in the case of that?
For sure.
Like, let's say Drew Aller falls to the 3rd or Kane Klubnik falls to the 3rd. Like, somebody with some upside back there. I wonder if Cincinnati's at that place where it's like, nah, we need to have a project.
I think that will be a big priority for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they took one as high as the 3rd round. They're definitely going to prioritize like backup quarterback because it's just destroyed them. And we thought Jake Browning was that guy, but he's clearly is not that guy. So I could see them taking some guy that they expect to at least be able to step in and be decent if Burrow something happens to Burrow.
All right.
Okay. Let me have a couple of super chats. Let me go through that, and then we can go to the Browns. Ace, how many more losses to Jamar, Sweet Chin, Music, Zach, and Brown?
I will just Look, they're lucky that they didn't get it last night.
It looked like it was about to do it to Zach.
From people pretty close to Jamar, which I've known for over the years, he's been frustrating when they aren't. He's been frustrated when they aren't struggling. So Jamar, if you've ever watched Jamar, he does not mince his words. Like when they usually ask him about the offense struggling, he's like, ask Zach. I think we're about one game away from that happening. Him going up to Zach on the sidelines is basically give me the effing ball. Like there's no reason for me, Zach, to not have at least 10 targets or something in this game to put the ball in my hands. You cannot be giving Jamar Chase 6 to 8 targets every game and expecting the offense to do something. And from what I hear, a lot of people watched All 22. He was open a lot last night, apparently. So there was a lot of frustration from him. And somebody saying Jamar's a diva. Jamar is not a diva. He is a player that wants to compete. He does not want to get blown out. You know, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. He still wants to play. He's not giving up.
He wants to win.
So
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to win, and he is understanding that the quarterback is fucking Jake Browning. And
Jake Browning is
he need to get me the ball so we can win. Like, I don't understand why they not doing. If that's the situation you're in, you got Jamar Chase. You need to be doing top tier gimmicky bullshit to get Jamar Chase the ball. You need to be doing the end arounds, the pop passes. We're gonna do flea flickers and just throw it, even if it's covered. Jamar, we just gonna give you the fucking ball. Like you should lead the game with like a ridiculous, a high school amount of targets, like 15, 16 targets. And then when they get tired of doubling that, then, okay, here goes T. Higgins. We're gonna slap targets at T. Higgins and just do that all game. What are they trying to spread the fucking ball out for?
Like, and he's definitely done with Browning for sure. After last night, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to know all the ins and outs when it comes to play designing and play calling and all of that, but I do think some aspects of the game ain't that hard when it comes to when you have two of the best receivers in football. Or just, it's just like, hey, you know, we have a bad quarterback. There's a way that we can, you know, simplify the game to just get the ball to our best players. Maybe we should do that and not make, I don't know, Drew Sample a guy who we're trying to really feed the ball to this week. Like, come on, man.
To add to that point, sometimes being smart is being willing enough to understand that the answer to a problem is actually quite simple, right? You just got to see the stupid answer, right? Sometimes stupid shit's right. And like, you know, intelligently, people are like, oh, well, you just got to get the ball to Jamar Chase. You're going to have a harsh reaction there. Cause you're like, no, that's not how that works. And we got to work our concepts and make sure that it flow. And sometimes it's just nah, man, they right. Just throw that bitch to Jamar. like it's really that simple. It's like, you trying to be intellectual here. Jamar Chase, very good. Your quarterback, very bad. Get very good wide receiver ball, right? Look, this is what they did with Browns did this with Josh Gordon, where they just didn't overthink a thing. They were like, you know what? We got nothing if Josh ain't open. So every time the ball's just going to Josh. If he catches it, cool. If he doesn't, nobody else was doing shit with it anyways. Like sometimes the willingness to think that you can outsmart the league and all this, you get guys like Jamar Chase specifically because you don't have to be fucking smart to win with Jamar. You know who you got to be smart to win with? Jamari Thrash, no disrespect to Jamari Thrash, right? You know, Taz Walker, right? You gotta be smart to kill guys with Taz Walker, right? What's the dude in Minnesota? Adam Thielen in 2025. You gotta be a fucking genius, right? To figure all that out. You don't have to be a genius to figure out Jamar Chase. That's precisely why he's the top. The guys who go at the top of the draft are there because you don't have to be a genius to use them right. Hey, look, Myles Garrett got 12 sacks one time with Greg Williams? And Greg Williams told him he can only use one pass rush move. Fucking idiot, but still was successful with Myles Garrett, right? That's what he's there for. You don't have to be a genius. Stop trying to be a genius here with Jamar Chase. And for the love of my fantasy football team, give him the fucking ball. Okay?
Oh, my God. You're on mute.
Don't wait till the last week in Cleveland when I ain't playing anymore because I got eliminated because you want to give Jamar Chase 3 touches a game to fucking actually use him. And all I get out of Jamar Chase is a 300-yard game at the end of the season. Please, for the love of God, use Jamar Chase.
Sonny, you're muted.
You're muted, Sonny.
All right, Allah Run. Shout out to you for being a member.
Allah Run.
Allah Run. Yeah,
3
three
plays
plays.
in a row. Taylor
Rock.
Yes. Yes. That is exactly what Zach Taylor does. Oh my goodness.
And then the 188, shout out to you, man. Sorry, Bungo fans. Zach is not your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is Tobin and Mike Brown.
Well, you
They are
can't fucking fire
significant
Mike
gaps
Brown.
on
Yes.
They literally hired him. What are we
Yeah.
talking about? They
Yeah.
hired him.
Yes.
Like, I hate when people do that. Well, your biggest problem is ownership. One, ownership.
I mean,
everybody's
I
owner
do
sucks.
understand the Duke
but-
Tobin thing. I do understand
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
Duke
fair.
Tobin thing, but
All owners
but
suck.
yeah.
There's not a single good one. Nobody's out here like, yeah, man, we wouldn't have won this championship if it wasn't for fucking ownership. It's
Yeah.
usually, hey, thank ownership for giving us money and getting the fuck out the way. Nobody's ownership is good. Everybody's ownership sucks. So everyone's like, oh yeah, your owner sucks. Of course, everybody sucks. Like, yeah, nobody's owner's good at football. That's why they own the team. They don't own the team because they were great at football, right? It's not worth that much money. But
Okay,
yeah,
let's transition here to
Tobin,
the
there's some
Bengals.
catalyst.
Actually, since we have been talking a lot about Bengals, let's finish the conversation. Ace, I watched this game. It was a hard watch. The first quarter was decent. After the first quarter, everything
First
imploded.
drive.
Yeah.
Not the first quarter.
Well, but I guess what I'm saying, the first quarter, even the defense was decent also in the first quarter. Or
Did
good,
Bo
not
Nix
decent,
throw a
good.
pick in the red zone?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It did end a half, still up 21 points.
Well, I guess then he drove back. He drove back and scored a touchdown.
That's fucking bad. It's tough.
So,
Mhm.
Ace,
Mhm.
I know you're not gonna sugarcoat it. So,
Yeah.
this is a game that if I was a Bengals fan, obviously I'd be frustrated. As me on the outside looking in, I'm like, man, it's hard because the side that they're supposed to be good and dependable is that offensive side, and there's not much there. Like, and it's because of the quarterback. I agree, it's because of the quarterback. But what do
No,
you
it's
do?
not just because of the quarterback. Oh no, it is. There's a quarterback issue for sure.
There one play,
but-
that I saw, by the way, and I know it's going out there a lot. It was third and whatever, and both tackles missed their guy on the edge rush. Both of them get to Brownie.
Against a 3-man rush. Yeah, you're talking about the
Yeah.
one against the 3-man rush where both
But-
of them missed. Yeah.
Yes, both of them missed. But here's what I will give your tackles a little bit of grace.
No,
Those
you're
are-
not giving them grace for this game. We're not doing that.
No.
No,
But in that, I'm
no,
talking
no.
wait. In that play in particular, they're playing Y9. That specifically, right?
Wait, it was
I'll-
a 3-man rush with a
Yeah.
Y9? So there was
Yeah.
what?
3-man
It was just did they just get a bad protection? How the fuck did they lose that?
Well, the tackles completely whiff on the.
Oh god.
But Brownie doesn't step in at all. Or that would have been a great play for draw. Like the middle's wide open. The middle's like there. If Brownie steps up, the tackles maybe can,
to be fair, man,
yeah,
when
man,
you see a
it's-
wide 3-man front, your first thing on your mind isn't, well, let me make sure I step up and let my tackles blow this. Like,
both tackles
There's
got
only-
completely.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's only one thing. Like, there's nobody on your inside shoulder. You don't have to look inside before you start there's only one thing for you to do as a tackle in that situation, which is just to kick slide, get your ass back as fast as fucking possible. So it's like you're the last thing on Browning's mind is like, oh, they're gonna get blown by here, right? Like
Both of them got to Brownie. Both of them.
yeah. For both of them get blown by, it's just. I mean, you got to look at your offensive line coach at that point because, like, what the fuck are you teaching them that they're not getting the back that far?
I think that's a big one from this one. I think the biggest takeaway is the Bengals coaching staff is ass. I mean, it's just completely ass when it comes to the techniques. Because I'm sitting on the phone, not trying to like humble brag or anything. I'm talking to Willie Anderson, and we're watching the offensive line as this is going on. And the crazy thing is, his guy, Paul Alexander, worked with Garrett Bowles this offseason, training for this Trey Hendrickson game. This was one that was constantly on the table. This was one that they were specifically training for in this offseason. And he shut Trey Hendrickson down. Well, he talked about the difference in techniques from the Bengals offensive line coach versus the stuff that they were teaching them. And it's completely different. And then, like, we've heard this from Andrew Whitworth. We've heard this from Jason Kelsey. The Bengals literally have the hardest scheme in the NFL for an offensive lineman to block. because you're passing so much. You're doing the empty stuff. The technique that they're taught to use there is just awful. They were getting beat by so many bull rushes and things of that nature last night that was awful. That goes down to the offensive line coach. The technique and everything is there. The scheme itself that I've talked about with Zach Taylor, it just sucks. It doesn't work. The only reason that the Bengals were able to actually get yards on that first drive is because Zach Taylor actually didn't run it on first down every time. So he doesn't run it. The first play of the game, it's like a play action pass, and it's less predictable. And as soon as that script is done, which I don't agree. The other thing I don't agree with before I continue is he made a decision to take the field goal. And I'm like, dude, your offense is struggling. You have no momentum. You're inside the Broncos, red zone area. Even if you don't get this, Bo Nix is at his 5-yard line. Like, you're not have some cojones and do something. They don't go for it. They take the field goal. And to me, there were times in this game where he's punting. I'm like, bro, the game is you might as well go for it on fourth down, but there's no flow. He has no sense of the game. And then you could obviously tell too, from a Browning standpoint, he was absolutely terrified to throw an interception to the point where anytime there was Jamar Chase running deep and he could just take the safe pass, he was taking it every time. Or anytime that he had to try to throw it toward the sideline pass where somebody could make a play on it, he's airmailing it out of bounds. It looked very Andy Dalton-like out there last night. And I'm like, dude, if you're just not I get that you threw a whole bunch of interceptions, but if you're just not going to throw the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, what the hell are we here for anyway? And there was a couple of plays. There was a play on that one drive where he actually had Jamar Chase running deep. I don't want to say down the seam, but he was wide open deep, and he didn't even go for him. He ended up dumping it off to Mike Gesicki or something like that. And to me, it just shows what Zach Taylor is as a play caller, which we've already known. We're seeing this amateur that we have at offensive line coach. And then when it comes to the defense in this game, Zach Taylor decided to hire his fucking neighbor. And now we're seeing a lot of instead of having a legit actual defensive coordinator search, this man knew the whole time he was hiring his neighbor. It was not a serious search. And for a team that was the worst defense in the league, that was something where you had to have a legit search. And these are the things that we've gotten from Zach Taylor. I'm going to hire my friends, even if they're not qualified. Throughout all of these years, that's what it's been. It hasn't been, let's find somebody that's qualified. It's been, hey, me and this guy used to coach here together. Maybe he knows a little bit. His resume is probably 2 bullet points long, probably no NFL experience at all. But hey,
who was the offensive line coach he had that was awful, but it was one of his best friends?
Jim Turner, the guy that gave him his first coaching gig. That's the whole reason Jim Turner had a job. You cannot do that in the NFL. I get that people want to talk about the LeBron and Bronny thing. You cannot do that in the NFL with majority of your coaching staff, dog. And what we saw last night was that this Bengals team, number one, the staff isn't very good. The players aren't very good. And when you have two of those combined and no Joe Burrow, you get what you saw last night. I said, and I clamored last week on several different podcasts, hey, this Jake Browning shit looks like it's not working out. We need to be proactive, go out there and try to get somebody that can at least be competent, whether it's Jameis, whether it's Russell Wilson, whether it's whoever. They didn't do it. And it's like, bro, you just watched this team get curb stomped 48-10, and they were not prepared. We come out in this game, the Bengals are not prepared. They had 8 fucking penalties in the first half. It was like, bro, what are they doing? And the whole time, Zach Taylor's not getting mad. Bro, from this perspective, the coaching staff is bad. The players that they've chosen to put in certain positions aren't executing. And they're just sitting there dumbfounded, wondering why this isn't working. We knew that CTB wasn't a cornerback one. Why are you throwing him out there thinking that he is going to be able to play without having someone over the top? The Bengals don't have corners where you cannot have a safety over the top. And it's very embarrassing and it's very frustrating to watch Sean Payton just literally scheme his players open. And every time I'm watching somebody for Zach Taylor's team, somebody is there. No one is running wide open. Nothing is easy. Everything is 4D chess when it comes to Zach Taylor because, like we've said before, because Zach Taylor used to be the offensive coordinator for UC, and it was one of the worst UC off. It was not even UC. It was one of the worst college football offenses in the history of college football. And this guy is calling our plays. I just don't understand it. He's got to give up the play calling. He gave up the play calling last year to Dan Pitcher. And this year he took it back. He has control issues over the offense. Anytime that he doesn't have his hands on the offense, it's an issue. But anytime he does have his hands on the offense, they don't do shit. They can't run the ball. He's predictable on first down. Right after you had the first drive where he didn't run the ball on first down, guess what it was? Once the script was done, run on first down, run on first down, run on first. This dude got a fucking 1st and 20 and still ran the ball again. I'm like, bro, where are you right now? Where are you right now? This team cannot win games against anybody. If Zach Taylor is still the head coach and these coaches are being counted upon to come up and script stuff, they're going to lose because they're going to get outcoached by everybody because this is the worst coaching staff in the league. And you're talking about a team without Burrow. So if you don't have your quarterback, you don't have anything. So where it stands at right now, bro, in good faith, this team is not winning any more games as it stands right now. Until this staff is able to put together anything, they're not winning. You think that they're going to beat the Lions? You think that they're going to beat the Packers? I don't even know if they're going to beat the fucking Bears right now. Like, I don't. I think the Bears would mop them right now. They would mop them easily right now. This team has scored 1 touchdown, it seems like, in the last 3 games.
Been outscored 76-13 over the last two weeks.
And then the defense, we talked about the defense. Sure, I don't give context. I don't do the whole context. This is why I don't do the context thing. Oh, the defense played great in the first quarter. Yeah, but they gave up 500 fucking yards. Like, yeah, I don't care what they did in the first quarter. They gave up 500 yards. Everybody was running wide open. Bo Nix, who is not like this great quarterback, just looked amazing.
He had his 300
yards to Bo Nix. The Broncos have not had a 100-yard rusher in 30 games until last night. That's the get-right game. The get-right game against the guy that was your neighbor that you decided to bring in, the same guy that tried to play man defense in the national championship against some of the best receivers in the NFL. That's the guy you decided to hire. And this guy isn't blitzing at all. He's not blitzing at all. He's blitzing like 8% of the time. He's expecting to get there. And, of course, the Bengals had no pressures because guess what? I was talking to Willie about this. All teams have to do when they play the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson is chip him and put him with somebody else and just pay attention to Trey Hendrickson because guess what? Nobody else is going to do shit.
I didn't even remember.
All you got to do is double team him and do all of that. They're not going to move him around. They're not going to be creative. They're not going to do anything to help him out. They're just going to say, Trey, you just sit there and run. And what these guys are doing in the offseason is they're contacting people that are familiar with Cincinnati, sitting down with them and saying, how can we block Trey Hendrickson? Oh, well, the offensive linemen are only going to do this, so this is all you got to do against Trey. Like, it can't be that easy, guys. And it's been that easy for anybody going against this team. That's why we saw the Vikings completely demolish them. And then they go out and get destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but they get beat handedly by the Steelers because this entire coaching staff sucks. They suck. And Joe Burrow hit a lot of scars and hit a lot of warts because they are ass. There is nothing good about the Bengals front office or the coaching staff whatsoever. And I'm pointing the finger at the front office because none of the draft picks that they have had have been able to develop into anything on that defensive side of the ball. The offensive side of the ball, they're struggling still with the offensive lineman. It doesn't matter who you bring in, the results are the same. The results are the same. So Duke Tobin, yes, I'm looking at you too. Like, why are you going out there with CTB knowing and Josh Newton? We're throwing Josh Newton out there to get baptized, a 4th-round corner, and we don't need corners? We don't need more corners. Good. All right, we don't need any more quarters. We're just going to ride it out with those 3 guys who you know are question marks. DJ Turner might be your best corner. I mean, at least we can depend on him. But CTB, Josh Newton, maybe Dax Hill you can depend on, but anybody else is cooked on the defensive side of the ball. Unless you're now, I don't want to make it seem like Jordan Battle hasn't done his thing. So shout out to Jordan Battle, but anybody other than that, they're cooked. A lot of people were talking about Jermaine Pratt last year. How are the linebackers looking this year, guys? They're still getting cooked. It was not a Jermaine Pratt problem. It was a Bengals defense problem, and it's still going to be there. It's a Bengals offense problem. It's a Bengals team problem. And right now, in good faith, you're not going to see me on this show ever pick the Bengals until I see them win a game. And I don't think that that's going to be for quite some time. If I grow a beard out, which I struggle to grow a beard, I'll probably have a goatee by the time the Bengals win a game this season.
Gonna be like David Banner.
I might be David Banner, bro. I might be a member of the Taylor Bond by the time that the Bengals win a freaking game. This team is not serious, bro. They're not serious. I don't see them winning any games anytime soon. If they don't make any kind of move for a quarterback, they're cooked. They're done.
Somebody had a correction for you, Ace. It wasn't 30 games. The last 100-yard rusher for the
38
was actually
38.
37.
Excuse me.
And
37?
the last one was Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray. Oh my God.
Lat Murray, who's been out the league since 2023.
Yeah, I'm like, he retired before they had another. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, Q, Jared, anything you want to add?
I think Ace covered it all.
Yeah, I wrote about it. As soon as the game was over, I knew I wanted to write something about it. I just couldn't think of what I wanted to say. But I wrote something in the Sporting News, and I just said that, right now the Bengals are floating face down on the water and just waiting for somebody to find the body. Like, they are dead, man. And look, there we go. And I get the wanting of a new quarterback, but all the things you just said, it's like a quarterback isn't going to fix the defense. So like I understand wanting to go and maybe get a Russ or a Jameis or a Teddy Bridgewater, somebody just to make the offense a little bit more competent, and that's fair. But the defensive issues, like it doesn't matter who they go and get that they could conceivably get. I just don't see that being a massive difference maker just because of how bad the defense is.
Yeah. Okay. We
rough.
have a couple of super chats. By the way, it feels like we're here.
A lot of crash outs today.
Therapy session, right? It feels like we're in a therapy session. Me and Ace are just venting. Elite Dragon says, "Who do you want the next Ravens head coach to be?"
I have a few ideas.
The problem is the person that I want. I know the Ravens flock will not want.
Oh, who do you want, Sonny?
I want the same one that I. Yeah.
You want Flo? I thought it makes sense.
I think Flores, and then you can keep top Monken and say, Monken, you keep working on the offense, because Monken hasn't been the problem on the offense.
Monken will get head coaching interviews again after this offseason.
I don't know, because I think the problem with Monken, he's old enough that people don't want
that. He still got
interviews
this past cycle.
Yeah, but I don't think they take it serious enough. I mean, I'm not saying that he should.
Well, he's just never going to be the sexiest candidate.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
I saw somebody, and I thought this was a good shout.
The
Marcus
Oregon.
Freeman.
I'm sorry, the Notre Dame coach.
Freeman?
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman?
Yeah, I think him and.
Does he strike you as an NFL guy?
I don't know. That's why I would prefer Flores. To be fair.
Mean, if you would have your pick, though, would you rather be the Notre Dame head coach or the Ravens head coach? I think I would just stick at Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame doesn't fire.
Yeah, you're getting paid the same fucking money.
He's probably making more at Notre Dame than he would make in the NFL, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and I would stay.
He's probably
especially since he seems to have figured out his whole strategy for NIL in the portal.
Yeah,
I'm not.
He's riding that Shane Gillis money. He's fine.
My thing is,
and then also it's like, do you really want to take the Ravens job, because you can absolutely get fired from that job? Like,
sure. Well, but the Ravens have allowed coaches to say. Look, both coaches for the Ravens stayed for a while. Not only Harbaugh,
Brian Billick stayed for quite a while.
Yeah, so the Ravens, they don't have a history that
but they've never fired somebody because
I think they've only had 3 head coaches since they became the Ravens.
Yep, that's it. In
it
30
depends
years.
on if you count Bill Belichick, who they fired right at.
No, they don't count Bill Belichick, but the guy after
Bill
Belichick, it was only here for like 3 or 4 under Art, and
then.
Well,
this would be a different situation than the Ravens have ever been in, though, right? Like, it's easy to kind of stand the course when you're firing somebody right at the start of a new era, right? But this would be a different one where you're firing somebody specifically because you think he can't get this group over the hump. Which, if the other guy comes in and doesn't get that group over the hump, like the logic dictates, and you're gonna have to fire that guy too, right? Like, once you open that can of worms for that specific reasons, it doesn't go back into the pot, right? Like, it's just gonna be out there until it's solved or until you tear the whole fucking thing down. But
Yeah. So what I was saying before is I'm not big on college coaches to the NFL because I don't know. The
Worked
reality
with
is I
Harbaugh.
don't know.
Worked with his
Yeah.
brother.
Jim, yeah, work with Jim, but
Is Jim really a college guy though?
That's where he started.
Well,
but that's what he
yeah, he was what Clemson. He was an NFL guy, and then
He went
went
to-
to
he was,
no, he
Stanford.
was Utah, I think, or
He was-
something like that.
No, Urban was Utah and then Florida.
was Utah.
Jim was somebody before Stanford, and I cannot remember who.
Let me check.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was something in college. He was San Francisco past team. Okay, hold on.
Well, let's
Western
try to get the show
Kentucky.
done before 10.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, Elite Dragon says, okay, yes, that was a question. Flo will be my pick. Dragon the Ambassador says, random. Have y'all noticed every young QB under pressure spams the same spin around and roll out instead of stepping up?
Yeah, these kids need to play less fucking 7-on-7 football because that's exactly where that shit comes from.
Yes.
Play
Zach
football with the
Taylor for the
line.
Ravens head coach. Hell to the no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
let's
love
get it.
that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Is this the
No.
truth?
Cliff Kingsbury to the Ravens. This is
Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
re-engineer. Have Lamar throwing screens to Zay. You know, that's fun. That's fun.
Mike McDaniel.
San Diego Toreros coach, by the way. That was where he came from. Is
Sonny
it
will become a
true?
Commanders fan.
Yeah, I might.
There you go.
Is it true that Dylan gets the nod for week 5? That's the rumor.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then really want Flores. He was bad at Miami.
Hey.
Go check Miami.
He was
No.
not bad at Miami. He led them to 2 consecutive winning seasons. They got rid of him because he didn't want to tank.
He
Yeah,
didn't want
those teams had no business winning games.
They had
and I think that's
zero
why he
business
got
winning
fired.
anything.
he didn't want to tank. He didn't want to Tua, which
I was going to say he wanted Herbert, and Stephen Ross said, no, we're drafting
No.
Tua. And he made sure to tell Tua that he sucked.
revision is history.
Brian
working in his
Flores
favor.
is the most Dan Campbell before Dan Campbell got the Lions job coded
Yeah.
hire
Yeah.
of all time
He
because
just
it was
had
like
a bad
Dan was actually kind of decent that one year. Was it the Dolphins he was with too?
Dan was on the Dolphins staff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the interim head coach of the
The
Dolphins.
2015 Dolphins coaching staff had Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, Zach Taylor, just a ton of dudes on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if they fire, I don't think this will happen, but if they fire Top Munkin, bring me Nerd Boy as the OC. I'm not against
Yeah,
that.
McDaniel's not a head coach in the NFL, I don't think. But yeah, if you want to have him as an OC, whatever.
Give me
go crazy.
Flores as a head coach D coordinator and give me McDaniels as the OC. That's okay.
Either him and Lamar are gonna have the funniest relationship of all time,
Or Flores is going
Lamar's
to
just not gonna
hate him.
or like it's gonna be an open revolt by week 4. Right?
So, let's talk about 2 games here that I don't think it needs a therapy session. Let's start with Q.
All
and the
those
Browns.
guys under Joe Philbin's staff. That's
Mhm.
insane. They were terrible that year too.
Q, how do you felt about the Browns? I actually, they were trying to be in this gang, and Flacco said, "Nah, here's the pick." They were trying to be in
Well-
the gang, and then Flacco did some other stupid shit.
Well, it was not just Joe Flacco, right? Special teams has been equally as bad as the offense.
Specialty has been trash. Yes.
Somebody has a great stat. I think it's Ray Rags. The Browns are giving up like 102 points. 51 of those points come from being set up by special teams, right? Or the offense turning the ball over. So, if you want to beat the Browns, the best chance to beat them is just let the offense get the ball, right? Like that's your best chance to beat the Browns because nobody is penetrating this defense quite like the Browns offense. So that's really the problem here, right? The Browns cannot stop the bleeding on offense. They're turning the ball over way too much. Special teams is a disaster. I was bitching about it all game. The field position battle for this team was just abysmal all day, right? The Browns started I think 2 drives in plus field position, so at least plus 25. Really, now plus field position is past the 30 because of the new kickoff rules, but I'll call it the 25, right? The Browns started 2 drives past there. I think the Lions started all but 2 drives in positive territory because of horrible punt coverage, because of horrible kickoff return coverage. They gave up a punt touchdown in this game. Special teams is a disaster. The offense is turning the ball over. And we said it, if this team wants to win games, they're going to have to play this low margin, low yield style of football where you're going to have to slow the pace of the game down, make as little mistakes as possible, not turn the ball over, and just suffocate the other team. This is something that they almost did successfully against Cincinnati, but then they turned the ball over twice and then missed field goals. This is a low margin style of football. If you make those mistakes, you will not win the games, right? That's just what it is. The Browns continue to be negative in the turnover margin. They continue to be horrific in special teams. Bubba Ventrone at this point needs to be fired. Ventrone Dan, right? You know, he's terrorizing the team here. Joe Flacco, look at that stat line for Joe Flacco. And, you know, it's not good. I'm telling you, it was so much worse than that stat line indicates. It was way worse than that. Those 2 interceptions, they look bad on the TV copy. Wait till you see them in the all 22. Just bad, right? You know, I'm not going to go as far to say as it looks as bad as Deshaun Watson was by the end of that run there, but it's not meaningfully different right now. So now you're in a situation where you got to put a rookie in on the road in London when Minnesota's been there for a week against Brian Flores. It's not a preferable situation to be in, but it's literally what you have to do. You know, they kind of fucked the quarterback situation here, and hopefully Dylan's good enough to, you know, battle out of it and not have to need a good landing spot to be able to be successful. But that's not the kind of quarterback we thought we were drafting. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't the kind of guy you're like, oh, we could throw him in a tough situation, he'd be fine. No, you're like, no, you got to put this guy in the right landing spot. Now we can't do that, right? Because Joe Flacco's turning the ball over so much. And it kind of screws up everything else. Not great. You know, Kevin's not the offensive creativity with Kevin Stefanski is just not there right now. Like, go back to 2023 when they had to play the Seattle Seahawks and they had PJ Walker and the Browns were just throwing shit at the wall. Like, they're throwing these tight end screens and these tunnel screens and these little pitch plays. And you're like, wow, Kevin's just creative. He's drawing up all these opportunities. You're not seeing any of that right now with the offense. You know, they're doing all this vanilla Joe Flacco, it's fucking 2009 offense, and it's not even running that offense efficiently, right? Yeah. So, you know, you got to get out of here. If Dylan Gabriel allows you to be more creative on offense, then so be it. But you got other problems here. Cornelius Lucas, our left tackle for the last 3 weeks. You know how many pressures he's given up?
All of them.
Just guess a number. You know, 3.5 weeks of football. How many pressures do you think would be commensurate with somebody playing awful?
Let me see. If you give me, in my opinion, like 3 or 4 pressures per game, you're just abomination.
So with 3-4 pressures a game,
that's 12.
This is 12 pressures.
9 to 12. Yeah.
Try 28.
Oh,
that's berserk.
9 this week alone.
Oh,
by him, just him. 9.
Damn.
9. Inglorious bastard level of tackle play. 9.
At that point, why do you even have a person there?
Last week, he gave up 9. They moved him for right tackle. He gave up 9 pressures at right tackle. Okay, let's move you to left, Cornelius, to see if you're better at the left. He gave up 9 pressures again. He's at least consistent.
Well, that's why you trade for Cam Robinson, right?
28 pressures. Do you know the average for a tackle in 4 weeks is like 7? The average, right? 4 weeks, an average tackle gives up 7 pressures in that situation. My man is giving up a full season's worth of pressures in 3.5 fucking games.
That sucks.
He can't be out there anymore. Dylan Gabriel's going to be ruined if you throw him out. Yeah, you're going to ruin any quarterback you throw out there with Cornelius Lucas. He's trash. He's got to go. And look, here's how bad it is. 28 pressures he's given up. You want to know how much number 2's given up?
How much?
18. He's 10 plus. He's 10 plus. 10 plus. Like, talk about a fucking margin. You're the worst by a valley. Yeah. So that's bad, obviously. Quinshawn's good. You know, Quinshawn looks pretty good. You know, Cedric Tillman got hurt. That sucks. He's going to be
IR, right?
He's been on IR.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. They signed Malachi Corley, so
maybe he can steal Devontae Adams' jersey number and be worth shit. You know, who knows? Like, maybe, but you know, It's not great here. Not the situation I hoped we would put a rookie quarterback in, but it's the situation that you're in. You got to make the best out of it. As far as this game versus the Lions, I mean, the Lions are a better football team than you. We all knew this coming into it. And if you were going to beat the Lions, you weren't going to beat the Lions turning the ball over on special teams. You weren't going to beat the Lions being a fucking disaster on special teams. You certainly weren't going to beat the Lions turning the ball over 3 times on offense, all 3 of those times leading to points because you're turning it over in your own territory. So, yeah, you want to beat the team like the Lions, who are a legit contender, you can't play this badly on the road and think that you're going to do anything but embarrass yourself. And that's what they successfully did. They embarrassed themselves. Now, look, there were ways that they could have lost this game. I wouldn't be upset because I get it. The Lions are better, but losing the game in the way that they lost it, not really with it, right? So, not really feeling it, right? Like, this wasn't like, hey, man, the Lions are just better than us. They got a quarterback. It is what it is. No, the Ravens game felt more like that. This was like, hey, the Lions even played their best football. They were sloppy. You had a chance to actually win this game if you would have played better football, but you just decided you didn't want this win this week, right? Let's go try to get a win in London. That's what it felt like. And that's fucking shameful. So that's where they're at. They got to turn this around. They're going to have to make a ton of changes to the offense in 1 week while they're trying to go across the border, or not across the border, not going across the pond, or across the pond, whatever they call it, and do their thing there. But that's really where they're at.
Garrett, anything you want to say about this Browns game?
No, not too much. I mean, Flacco completed less than 50% of his passes and looked bad doing it, so it's not good. So this went roughly about as I expected it to go. Anytime you have a team who, frankly speaking, a bad team, or at least a bad offense in Cleveland that has a surprise win, it's pretty rare you see them go back-to-back in terms of putting up quality performances like that. So Detroit, I think overall is just better, and this is kind of how I expected things to go. Maybe not as lopsided as it was, but that's roughly what I was expecting.
And fire Taylor Bond?
Taylor Bond. Yes, sir. I mean, like Jared said, I kind of echo the same thing. This is how you kind of saw this going. And I think now the writing's on the wall with Flacco. So now they move on to Doug Gabriel. You see what you have there, and you build on what you have. They still have a good defense. Lions are just a possibly Super Bowl caliber team. They're a playoff team for sure. They're a good team. They're going to wipe the floor with the Bengals and a lot of teams this year. So, for them to make it a game and then, the Lions just pulled away, that's just going to happen, man. Lions are a good team.
Okay, so I think we're done for today, right? We don't have to talk about, cover everybody, right?
Hold on.
Wait, hold on. We didn't finish the Steelers?
I thought we already did.
Yeah, we got the Steelers. We talked about you.
Certainly did not talk about the Steelers. Certainly not.
Derek, take your victory lap. Take it.
It's the meme where it smelled like bitch in here. Steelers are the only team in the AFC North to win this week.
I don't like when Steelers fans are happy. Okay.
And look, I was almost not happy because they tried their damnedest to lose it. They're winning 24-6 in the fourth quarter, and then the Vikings scored touchdown.
Almost came back.
Vikings scored touchdowns 24-14. All right, whatever. The Steelers then drive down inside the 5, and it's fourth down. Tomlin trots out the field goal unit because, of course, he does. And Aaron and the entire offense were like, no, we're going for this. They win the argument. They end up going for it, but they run the ball from the 4. And it's just like, all right, man, that felt like you doing that on purpose, just so next time you're in this situation, you could say, all right, last time we went for it, it didn't work. Arthur Smith in the lead up to the game talked about feeding Darnell Washington and the red zone. He said it's like throwing it to Shaq in the post. Mm-hmm. Look, brother, that felt like a pretty good opportunity to do that because they actually fed Darnell Washington a good amount in this game. He had 3 catches, which I'm pretty sure is his new career high because they haven't thrown it to him a whole ton over the past couple of years. So it felt like that was a pretty opportune time to try that. It doesn't work, whatever. They're still winning by 10. A busted coverage leaves Jordan Addison open, and Peyton Wilson makes one of the plays of one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. He runs over 22 miles an hour, catches Jordan Addison, trips him up at the 1, forces the Vikings to use another minute of the clock, ends up potentially saving the game. The Steelers then get the ball back. They're still winning by 3. Everything's fine. And a minute left in the game, at midfield, or maybe a little bit over midfield. It's 4th and half of football. And again, the offense is staying out there, and they just hard count it. They take a delay of game, and then
What was the point of that? I saw that. I was like, what are you doing?
well, look, man, if Mike Tomlin could punt on 3rd down, he would. And then he sends Corliss Waitman out there and apparently told him to punt the ball to Denmark because he sends it out the back of the end zone. So, like, what was the point of you netted like what was the ends to the means here?
He knew he was playing against Carson Wentz, your boy.
And look, that's all well and good. But if that's the case and you want to say, oh, I believed in the defense, then go for it on 4th and half of football and trust that they'll stop them. Right. And
Fair
it's
enough.
just, and that's what I like. Afterwards, I was very vocal about this, and a lot of people got pissed at me. But I said, Mike Tomlin, when it comes to head coaches, he's the biggest coward in the NFL. There's no one bigger when it comes to just playing with his tail between his legs. But that's all I'll say about the negatives.
No,
Because
it's been
there's
like that for a while. Because then he pumped
It has been.
4-2 in the Browns playoff game on like 2020.
yeah.
And it was like they had all the momentum in the world. And I was like, oh man, if they go for it, we might be fucked here. And then he was like, nah, win the game.
No, but the Steelers are going to win the AFC North 1/4 and 1 punt at a time. Like that's how it's going to go. But that's all I'll say about the negative, because I do want to focus on the positives. And they did win the game, a game that I didn't expect them to win, but it was necessary to highlight the things at the end of the game because it was really, really unfortunate. The offense as a whole, the most balanced game that they've had all year. Aaron was incredibly efficient, 18 of 22, 200 yards and 80-yard touchdown to DK. DK leads all receivers in yak right now in the NFL, which is great. Yeah, pretty great. Not something I expected when they got him. I don't think many people expected it. I think many were just, all right, it's going to be 9 routes, play action, deep ball or nothing. He's been pretty incredibly effective in, getting the ball short routes as well and doing a lot of running with the ball in his hands. So loved that. Obviously, the big catch on the it's an old Arthur Smith concept because the Steelers actually got beat on it a few years ago with A.J. Brown when they were both in Tennessee. Just easy over the middle, intermediate route. DK caught it and did the rest. Kenneth Gainwell. Jalen Warren was a late scratch. Kenneth Gainwell had 99 yards, 2 touchdowns, had 35 extra yards receiving. He was great in this game. Running wise, they ran the ball for 130 yards. They blocked incredibly well up front. It's not, and I'll say this too, because I've had, I've talked about Pat Freiermuth being kind of like a ghost this season. Pat Freiermuth played 15 snaps in this game, which tells you, oh, okay,
Whoa.
yeah, they're realizing that might have been a mistake giving him that much more. Connor Hayward had more offensive snaps than Pat Freiermuth in this game.
Wow. I understand, but dude, seriously?
Yeah. Connor Hayward had 16 offensive snaps. And it's not a coincidence that the Steelers had their best game running power runs when Pat Freiermuth wasn't playing a ton because he just doesn't give you very much as a blocker. So they're running a lot behind Darnell Washington, behind Jonnu, throwing Connor Hayward in there to help block as well. It's not a coincidence that they ran the ball incredibly well when Pat wasn't being asked to be out there and block because he's just not good at it. But the problem is he hasn't been a good receiver in terms of catching the ball this year either. He only has 7 catches for 65 yards. So I don't know if he's like in the doghouse or something, but it was pretty clear that he wasn't part of the game plan this week because they did all they could to keep him off the field. And on special teams, he's the one who gave up the blocked field goal. So he wasn't doing too much.
Oh, it was because of him?
Yeah, he got beat off the edge. So he wasn't doing too much to help the team. Defensively, there's a lot to like. PQ's playing like an all-pro right now, which I know is music to Sonny's ears because PQ's having a great year.
To be fair, I watched for PQ because I was watching that game like all of us. And all I say is, this is the PQ you want.
Yeah.
Ask him to rush the passer. Blitz. He looks perfect.
Sack.
That is his thing.
Had a sack, 3 tackles for loss. Peyton Wilson had 13 tackles. So the inside linebacker play was a lot better than what it has been. Derek Harmon, I think the addition that he's brought to the defense has been good.
Definitely.
Keanu Benton playing in his more traditional role has been very good. He had a sack and a half. Nick Herbig had a sack and a half. Watt had a sack and an interception. Like everybody was clicking defensively. And look, Carson Wentz threw for 350 yards. The vast majority of that came on the first drive and on the 80-yard busted coverage. So they kept him in check mostly all game. And overall, like this is a very positive game for the Steelers. The last 3 minutes or so of the game almost made it a giant negative. And, I wanted to make sure to get that out of the way first so I could talk about all the good. But this is largely a really good game. Arthur Smith called a good game. They ran the ball well. Aaron was efficient throwing the ball. Pretty happy with how things went. Now they can go into their bye 3-1. A couple injuries took place. Calvin Austin's got a shoulder. Jalen Ramsey has a hamstring. Hopefully they're not gone for very long, especially Ramsey.
I don't want to hear injuries.
Yeah, I'm just pointing it out.
I'm joking.
Yeah. So hopefully, especially Jalen, he's been really one of the heartbeats of that defense so far this year. Hopefully he's not out for too long, and they can keep this thing rolling. But I said on Friday, if they can win and set themselves up to be 5-1, because they play Cleveland and Cincinnati next, certainly in the realm of possibility. Certainly not going to bank on it. Certainly not going to bank on that.
5'9" coming to the building, brother. Like, hold on now. Hold on.
So, look, certainly not going to say it's 100% guarantee, especially because that Thursday night, the Steelers just aren't traditionally good on Thursday nights. So anything crazy can happen against the Bengals. And I'm not, the Browns defense is incredible. So something could happen there. But yeah, I'm feeling good. 3-1 going into the bye. And the only team in the AFC North to win this week.
Yeah, my analysis in this case, fuck the Steelers. I hope y'all lose. No, look, I predicted y'all were going to win. Carson Wentz. I think me and Q said the same thing. Carson Wentz, you ain't going to win. You're not going to lose against Carson Wentz. He was going to give you a couple. At the end, it got interesting. I'm like, oh my God, is it possible? But you know what I was thinking? It's like, Jared put himself in a weird way because he was like, well, if the Steelers lose, I predicted them to lose. If they win, it's like, oh, that's great. I'm like, fuck you, Jared. We had no way to lose.
He really macked us from Always Sunny, where it's like I picked both sides.
Yeah.
That way I
Pretty
never
great.
lose.
Yeah, I can't lose.
It's pretty great. And a lot of people got after me because in my write-up I wrote, talking about Tomlin playing coward ball. And a lot of people got after me because it was one of the, I got the negative out of the way first before I talked about the positive. A lot of people were mad that I led the column with that. And you know what? That might be fair criticism. Maybe I should have been more positive in my write-up. So if you are somebody who, reads all the stuff behind the steel curtain and were pissed at me for that, genuinely decent criticism there. Maybe I should have led off with more of the positive stuff. However, I don't take back what I said. I think it was some of the most cowardly coaching we've seen in a long time. And that's something that we see consistently with Mike Tomlin, and it's something that still pisses me off.
They're gonna sentence you to 4 weeks of watching Rich Eisen. So you can learn to appreciate Mike Tomlin. They're gonna
look, I love Rich.
They're gonna send you on a ride along with Rich Eisen.
I like Rich and the meeting him and whatnot, and he's one of the nicer guys in the industry. But yes, his undying love for Mike Tomlin is a bit nauseating.
You're gonna be in that car with Rich. He's going, see, Mike Tomlin is just so great at that. I think about Mike Tomlin when I go to the grocery store. You know that?
It's crazy.
Do you have anything to say about this game before we close it out?
With the Pittsburgh, this is kind of what I thought was going to happen here, right? Like, I thought Minnesota's offense wasn't going to be able to maintain the level of points that they scored against Cincinnati, especially since they probably weren't going to live off those turnovers. And that Pittsburgh's defense will have a little bit of a resurgence this week, right? So, yeah, I'm not really surprised here. We'll see what Pittsburgh looks like. I think with Pittsburgh, they're going to look pretty solid for a little while here. You really have to wait until like November to know how truly what kind of Pittsburgh Steelers here are. Yeah. What flavor of what they're going to do are they going to be like the 9 wins and then like collapse and limp to like a 10-win season? Are they going to do like the 8 wins and then like collapse to like a 9-win? Or are they going to do the fabled like 13 wins and like lose horribly in the first round of the playoffs?
If the Steelers win 13 games this year, I'll be ecstatic.
The conference isn't good. I mean, it could happen, right? And look, they won 12 in 2020, right? How many won in 2020?
They won 12, yeah.
Yeah, and then you weren't ecstatic.
Right? I wasn't, yeah.
But
things didn't go my way.
Yeah,
that's fucking Ryan Finley or Ryan, whatever the hell his last name was, on a Monday night against Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, Vanilla Vic. Yeah, and they still got Burrow after that. And it's like, hey, what if you get like 13, 12 wins? You get the 1 seed, and then the Bengals sneak. Well, you get the 2 seed, and the Bengals sneak in at the 7 and pop you right there. It's like, fuck this season. Like,
I will say this: like they
up.
are in prime position to host a playoff game. Like if they don't, then they deserve all the criticism that I would give them. So I'm gonna, I wanted to make sure that I got the criticism part out of the way. That way I could really just focus on the vast pauses that were in this game, because there were a lot of them. Deshaun Elliott came back, by the way, and had had an interception.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the defense is coming around. TJ Watt's looking like TJ Watt. Nick Herbig's awesome. I don't care what they do with Alex Highsmith anymore. They can trade him for all I care. Nick Herbig's too good to keep off the field. So
you trade him to the Ravens, he'd probably be the best edge rusher.
I think.
He
trade
probably
him.
will be.
Give him to Green Bay if they give me Romeo Dobbs or some receiver that the Steelers could use. That'd be nice.
They're gonna trade for another edge.
Yeah, why not? Give yourselves a 1-2 punch.
They have Rashad Gary. They had Gary there.
He's an interior. He's more of an interior guy. He can
does.
bump inside.
Yeah.
You trade him to Buffalo?
Trade him to Buffalo, sure. I don't know what receiver you can really give me in Buffalo, but Curtis Samuel, I guess, if that's what you'd like.
They got Gabe Davis on the practice squad, right?
Yeah.
They do have Gabe Davis on the practice squad. Yeah, they do. I forgot about that. So happy that they won. They're in prime position to host a playoff game. And if that does happen, whether they're, the 3 or the 4 seed, because I assume that's what they would be, because I do think Buffalo is pretty good position to be the 1. The 2 probably still going to be the West, because I think the Chiefs are going to be fine. They'll probably still win 12, 13 games. So Pittsburgh will be the 3 or the 4. It just depends on what the AFC South looks like. And yeah, they could set themselves up to potentially win a playoff game. And if they do that, I'll be very happy, especially if it's at home. Steelers haven't had a home playoff game in almost a decade. That would be good.
Almost a decade?
Haven't done it since 2016.
Haven't won a home playoff?
They haven't had a home playoff. I'm sorry. 2020. My apologies. You know what? I think I've just blanked that game out of my memory.
He remembers that game.
You don't remember that game? Remember it was 28-0 first quarter?
I try not to remember it.
Nick Chubb screenplay, kind of put the dagger in. You don't remember that?
I legitimately, and I'm not even trying to be funny. I think I just blocked that out of my brain.
Oh, yeah. 440 million people in Nielsen saw that, according to Nielsen records. You know what I mean?
He always brings it up.
That's funny. You don't remember that one? And then, they Pounty sat next to. You don't remember?
Yeah, I do remember that, because your boy on Brown's Twitter brings it up every other day, because it's the only thing he can cling to talk about.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that, we'll leave it here. We'll be back on Friday, previewing week 5 of whatever Bengals and Ravens team we have left, and the other 2 teams too. Out to that. Take care, my people. Peace out.